Welcome back everybody, I hope you're having a beautiful day today, and I hope you're ready for a whole bunch of Reddit stories. It's going to be fun, and I hope you have a great time. Before we get into the episode, if you could like the video and subscribe if you want to, that would be amazing. I really do appreciate your support everybody, and let's get into story number 1. Am I the a-hole for having 2 twin beds in my guest room instead of a queen bed, and also refusing to let my in-laws change the room? Hi Reddit, this happened earlier this year, and my in-laws are no longer staying with me. Background information, my husband and I, 24 female and male, have been married for 2 years. I'm a social worker and my husband's an electrician. We own a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house together. We have our bedroom, our home office, and a guest bedroom. My state's foster care system is one of the worst in the country. There isn't anywhere close to enough foster homes to meet the total number of children in care, and as a result of this, children often get stuck at hospitals and psych facilities and group homes. Oftentimes we've even got children that have to sleep at the CPS facility in sleeping bags on the floor because there's just nowhere for them to go. It's very common for social workers to bring children home with them, myself included. It's hard to find emergency placements for siblings, so if I can't find a place for them for the night to keep them together, I'll often bring them home with me. My husband and I are child-free, but he's super supportive of this, so our guest bedroom has 2 twin beds, both that have pull-out beds underneath. This means I can give 4 children their own bed for the night. Earlier this year, my husband's brother and his wife were temporarily homeless. They lost their jobs and they couldn't renew their lease. They had to scramble to find new jobs and a place to live. We let them stay with us for a month or 2. I didn't really want to, but it was the right thing to do. They were very pissed about the 2 twin beds thing. With how the bed frames are, you can't push the beds together, and the room is a little bit small and oddly shaped, so you can't fit an air mattress in the room without taking the twin beds out. We don't have a garage, so there'd be nowhere to put the beds. They wanted me to get rid of the beds or put them in a storage unit, so they could put a queen air mattress in there. I refused because I didn't want to go through all that trouble when they shouldn't be staying for too long anyway, and I worked hard to get the room to look the way that I feel is welcoming to kids, and I don't want to change it. I didn't tell them this, but I also didn't want them to get too comfortable with the room because I didn't want them to be tempted to stay for any longer than necessary. I'd rather house kids that are in an unstable situation than my ungrateful in-laws. My husband took my side and told them to get a hotel if they don't like it, but otherwise shut up. He said that if they keep on complaining, they'll have to leave. He's a very good husband. My in-laws have been telling everybody who'll listen to them that we're a-holes who made them sleep in kids' beds. My husband's been telling his whole family to f*** off basically, and don't talk to us unless you've got something nice to say. Am I the a-hole Reddit? There are like a dozen people who think we're a-holes, so I'd like some judgment. The top comment says, they've got a lot of demands for people who get free housing. Don't let them come back. Those kids sound like they need a place to stay a lot more than those spoiled in-laws. If anybody takes their side, tell them to house those 2. By the way, I'm happy that people like you and your husband exist. And OP said they're not welcome to come back, and neither is almost anybody in my husband's family. I don't understand how he's such a great guy, but came from a family of pricks. Yeah, and this comment too, not the a-hole. They're awfully picky for people who are homeless. Do they know that decent people usually express gratitude to those who've helped them? Because it seemed like they missed that lesson. Okay, now we're moving on to post number 2. I'm sure it's going to be fun. Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend's parents off and thinking about breaking up because he never stands up for me? I, 27 female, have been with my boyfriend, 29 male, for almost 2 years now. For the most part, things are good between us when it's just us 2, but whenever we visit his parents, everything falls apart. His mum and dad, let's call them Mary and John, are a lot. They criticize everything about me. My clothes, not classy enough. My job, oh, that's not really stable, is it? Even the way I talk gets picked apart sometimes. I try to brush it off, but it's like death by 1,000 cuts. And it's not just the comments. Whenever we're at their house, they treat me like their personal servant. Mary will say something like, oh, could you clear the table, dear? Which I didn't mind the first time, but then it's, can you wash those dishes? And why don't you serve the dessert? Meanwhile, my boyfriend's just sitting there scrolling on his phone or chatting with his dad. It's like they expect me to play maid while they relax. The last time that we visited, things hit a breaking point. We were having dinner and Mary made another one of her lovely comments about how I should learn how to cook properly if I want to keep my boyfriend happy. Oh my god. I just snapped. I told her, actually Mary, I don't need any lessons, but maybe you could learn some respect. Dead silence. Like you could hear a pin drop silence. And then John chimes in calling me rude and ungrateful. He actually said, we've been nothing but kind to you, and this is how you treat us? Kind? I'm sorry, expecting me to be your housemaid and constantly putting me down is kind? After dinner, my boyfriend didn't say a word to them. Yeah, get out of this relationship, OP. I thought maybe he was finally upset on my behalf, but no. The second that we got in the car, he went off on me. He said that I embarrassed him and overreacted, that I should have just let it go because that's how they are. So in other words, keep the peace. No, your boyfriend's not a good partner, OP. Like, what good is your partner if they can't even stand up for you. I told him I'm sick of feeling like I'm on my own when it comes to his parents. I asked him, why don't you ever stand up for me? And he shrugged and said, it's not a big deal. Oh God, and it gets worse. Not a big deal. I've spent 2 years feeling disrespected and unsupported, and he's calling me dramatic for finally speaking up. I told him that if he's not willing to back me up, maybe we need to rethink our relationship. He said that I was being ridiculous and ended the conversation. You're not even being a little bit ridiculous. Your boyfriend and his family suck. Now I'm here questioning everything. Was I wrong for snapping? Should I have handled it differently? Am I overreacting by thinking about breaking up with him? I feel stuck. Am I the a-hole? Absolutely not, OP. And I feel like you handled this so well. Please get away from your boyfriend. He doesn't even stand up for you. Like, what's the point? That's not a good partner. Yeah, like the top comment says, I'm sorry. He doesn't like you enough to stand up for you. His family sucks. Free yourself. And OP said, I think you're right. If he can't have my back, then there's no future for us. Yeah, it's not just his family that sucks. He's a terrible partner. The second top comment says, not the a-hole. Find somebody who respects you and is going to stand up for you. Your current boyfriend deserves the title of X. Yeah, like this comment says, so you broke up with him, right? Yeah, this is not somebody that you want to stay with, OP. And after what we just read, moving on to post number 3, am I the a-hole for telling my husband that he would be responsible for his daughter from now on? So my stepdaughter is about to be 13 years old. She's primarily been living with us since she's been about 5.5. Over the years, I've loved her and treated her like she was my daughter. Even after having kids of my own, I never treated her different. Over the last year, she started becoming a habitual liar. She lies about stupid stuff and also big stuff. Some examples of stuff that she lied about: feeding the dog, who she's talking to, where she met people, if she did her chores, crushes at school. She's even completely made up situations like being kissed, getting asked out, getting in fights, all things that we've caught her lying about, and she'll continue to lie to us until the proof is in her face. The biggest thing is earlier in December, she took my little one downstairs and offered to watch him and my 2 younger ones while I slept in a little bit in the morning. I work nights and my husband was at work. She asked me what time I was getting up and I told her 9 a.m, which was in like 30 minutes. I woke up at 9 and she was gone. Her and the dog were gone. My 6-month-old was in his bouncer crying, and my 6-year-old daughter got my dish soap and smeared it all over the bathroom and then locked herself in there when she heard me coming. My 4-year-old son said that she took the dog for a walk. She has no cell phone. I got the situation at home taken care of and she still wasn't home. I realized it had been an hour and I go out and I start looking for her. We live in a small town. I was searching for 3 hours. My husband finally leaves work in a panic and we search and call the police. A search and rescue dog finally found her. It took us 6 hours to finally find her. She to this day won't tell us where she was at. And fast forward to today, she said that her stomach had been hurting for 2 days. She's thrown up once and had diarrhea, none of which happened while my husband and I were there. I just got over a cold and a sinus infection and a stomach bug and a kidney infection, so I feel bad and I take her to the pediatric quick care. On the way there, I tell her that if she's faking it, just to tell me so I don't waste time and gas to drive her there. It's my last day before I have to go back to work and I do need to get some stuff done. She tells me no, she's really in pain. Tells the doctor the same. But in the waiting room, she's laughing and talking normal. The doctor tells us to go to the ER because of how much pain she's in. Now in the ER and ruled out appendicitis, and again laughing and talking fine, and come to find out she's been exaggerating how much pain she's been in, and I'm stuck waiting in the hospital for x-rays and test results. My husband can't switch with me because he has no gas, and we had to drive 30 minutes into town to come to the doctor. I'm about to cry, I'm so mad. I told my husband he can deal with everything with her from now on. All discipline, appointments, parent-teacher conferences, and everything. He thinks I'm overwhelmed and going too far. I married him and she was part of the package. So am I the a-hole for telling him this? Edit, I'd like to clarify some things. First, she's already scheduled for therapy. It took a minute to get her set up and we did have to wait for the new year, but her appointment is set for next week. Secondly, I would not be ignoring her or completely erasing her from my life. I just wanted my husband to deal with everything that I've been dealing with. I work full-time and I still do everything for the kids. He's currently not working because he lost his job when the missing for 6 hours thing happened. I was hoping that if I passed the torch on appointments and parent conferences and discipline, then he'd understand my frustration and help me. I've texted this to him and I didn't say that in front of her. I've always advocated for her. I got her into therapy. I got her a dog hoping that she'd feel loved by something. If for some reason she didn't feel loved by us, I got her help in school when she was struggling. None of these things would have been done if I wasn't there supporting her in the ways that I can. I'm frustrated because it's escalating and wasting time, money, and jobs. And regardless, I'd always love her. I'm not heartless or washing my hands clean. And thirdly, she doesn't really have anything we can take away. We can't afford sports or extracurricular activities. She doesn't have a phone or computer. The TV's about the only thing that we can take away and that we have. We even increased her chores list after the stunt with the dog. I've had countless conversations with with her, and one-on-one time. Dad is here and means well, but he doesn't take the time with any of the kids, and he's not emotionally available. And mum comes in and out, sees her on holidays and maybe once every 3 or 4 months, not super present and is by her choice. She's the one that left her and signed that my husband could have sole custody. The top comment says, it sounds like you're completely overwhelmed and doing your best to manage a tough situation. Your husband needs to step up and share the parenting responsibilities, especially since she's his biological daughter. The comment below that one says, it's only fair for her husband to take on more responsibility, considering this is his daughter. Parenting should be a partnership. This might even be because she's seeking more attention from the dad. Okay, and moving on to post number 4. Today I messed up by using freezer paper to wrap chicken. My apartment was transformed into Satan's own meat locker. I've waited my whole life to post a f**k-up worthy of this subreddit, and now all I feel is deep, unrelenting regret. The kind of regret that wakes you up at 3 in the morning in a cold sweat. Let's begin. I'm a sophomore in college living off campus in an apartment that frankly has seen better days. There's no grocery store on campus, so I bulk order food and I have it delivered. Before I left for winter break, I had 6 pristine chicken breasts, lovingly wrapped in freezer paper stashed in my freezer. I figured that I'd come back and whip up a home-cooked meal to treat myself before the new semester. No. That dream died a rancid, smelly death. I got back yesterday, unlocked the door, and I immediately caught a whiff of something off. It wasn't a strong smell, more like a cry for help. My first thought, rat corpse. Maybe one got in, decided my apartment was the perfect place to die, and now rotting in the wall somewhere. But I figured that I'd deal with it after unpacking my cooler of frozen meals from home, because you know, priorities. So I stroll over to the freezer, still blissfully ignorant, open the door, and bam! The smell sucker punched me like Mike Tyson in his prime. It was the most violent, god-awful stench I've ever encountered. As if Jeffrey Dahmer himself had sublet the apartment over the break and decided to get creative in my freezer. I peer inside, and to my absolute horror, I see my beautiful chicken breast, soggy freezer paper, and an inch-thick layer of frozen chicken juice cemented to the bottom of my freezer. My brain went into detective mode immediately. The power had gone out while I was gone. The chicken thawed, rotted, and then refroze. God himself could not create a more sinister punishment for my sins. The smell hit me again. I swear to God, it was the whole circus of ungodly stenches. Garbage on a hot day, gym socks left in a high school locker for months, spoiled milk, and the kind of bathroom situation that you only really encounter at a highway rest stop. It was the smell of death. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I decided the fridge had to be quarantined. I dragged the entire fridge into the bathroom and I slammed the door shut like I was locking a demon in there. Then, because I'm a fool who believes in hope, I left the freezer door open to air it out overnight, as if that would somehow cancel out the ungodly stench. Spoiler alert, it didn't. The next morning, the smell was worse. How? It defied logic, science, and possibly religion. Determined to fix this, I geared up for battle. Mask over my face, sock stuffed between the layers, and some shaving cream smeared under my nostrils. I cracked the bathroom door open, and wham, the smell hit me like a freight train of despair. I immediately started dry heaving so hard I thought my intestines were going to eject themselves. Enter my roommate. He opened his bedroom door at that exact moment, took one breath and said, "Oh, what the f***? Jesus Christ, oh my God, that's a fish." Then he turned around and slammed his door like he was escaping a war zone. Not helpful, bro. I went back in, this time armed with a chip clip over my nose and gloves on my hands, chicken juice dripping everywhere as I removed the freezer's contents like I was defusing a bomb. It got on my gloves and my shirt and my dignity. I scrubbed like my life depended on it, attacking that freezer with every cleaning product I could find. Bleach, vinegar, baking soda, Clorox, Lysol, even a half-empty bottle of hand sanitizer. I scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed like I was trying to erase my student debt. After 2 hours of labor, I finally stepped back panting and defeated. The smell was better, but it still lingered. The bathroom? Completely unsalvageable. The smell had seeped into the walls. I Febrezed, I burnt candles, and I even broke out some incense I'd bought on a whim at a hippie festival. None of it worked. The smell just mingled with everything, turning into some ungodly hybrid of vanilla bean rot and a lavender poultry despair. That goddamn raw poultry rot was sucked up by the room, and I don't think it'll ever go away. As for the fridge, it's in the county dump, where it belongs. Although, if the army's ever in need of a chemical weapon, they know where to look. So yeah, if you ever think, hey, I'll leave some frozen meat in the freezer while I'm away, think again. Think of me. Think of my roommates. And think of that stench that can't be eradicated. Here's a photo of the quarantine freezer for your enjoyment. The paper towel is covering the chicken. This was taken before it thawed. Edit, I didn't do my best job explaining this, so for clarity, when I returned, the chicken juice was frozen to the bottom of the freezer, along with some of the chicken breast wrapped in freezer paper, so I couldn't even begin to clean up what smelt before I let it thaw out. However, why I left the door open for this was beyond me. I think I thought the freezer would take too long to cool down if the door was shut. That was a tragic miscalculation, however. As for the title, I used to use Ziploc bags to freeze chicken breast. If I'd continued doing this, most of the mess would have been contained. However, I began using freezer paper to reduce plastic use, which is where the title came from. That is so unbelievably funny, but also like terrible at the same time. I'm sorry that you had to deal with that, OP, but I really enjoyed reading about it. And moving on to post number 5. I hope you guys are having a good time today. Am I the a-hole for wanting a divorce that my husband doesn't want and risking no relationship with his child? My husband, 33 male, and I, 30 female, have been married for 11 years. He's in the military and we've lived all over the place. During this time, I've taken on most, if not all, of the household chores: grocery shopping, cleaning, cooking, laundry, and when needed, he's mowed the lawns and hung up stuff on the walls. I have for most of our marriage had a job as well. I asked in the past for help around the house and it wasn't even considered. He in fact was threatening to eat off paper plates or eat fast food so that I wouldn't have to worry about his dishes. Fast forward to now, we have a 13-month-old baby. I've stayed home since birth and I'm still cooking and cleaning and laundry and groceries and pets all on me. I again decided to revisit the topic as I'm feeling so burnt out. I breastfeed all night, am responsible for bath time, feeding baby for mealtime, clean up after mealtime, dishes. He thinks going to work is enough, that I'm not grateful for him working since I'm asking him to help around the house. I told him, why were we even married then? I can just get a job and do it all myself still. I'd find a way. He reluctantly agreed to helping after I mentioned this would be it for me. The following week, every time he fed the baby or changed the baby or put food away after dinner, it was always a comment: I hope this is enough, or am I doing enough? We got home one day after grocery shopping. I got the baby out of the car seat and I went to the other side to grab a few bags. He said, no, I got it. I said, please let me get some. He said no. As we're walking inside, he says, I hope breaking my back is enough for you. Like I can't win. I told him it's like he's punishing me for asking for help. I mentioned divorce and he said if we divorce, he isn't going to be involved in our child's life. He said, and I quote, it's all or nothing. He says he doesn't want a divorce. What a terrible partner, straight up. You're not even helping your partner at all. And when you do, you bloody complain about it or make comments about it. Oh my God. He's not a good partner at all, OP. We live overseas and divorce would mean me moving back to the States near family with our baby while he stays at his duty station. Am I the a-hole for considering divorcing my husband, knowing that he would choose not to know his own child? How can I do this to our baby? But how can I live like this? Am I asking for too much? Absolutely not. You're not doing this to your child, OP. He is. You even said he would choose not to know his own child. So what? Not only is he a bad partner, but he's a bad parent? The audacity of this guy is out of control. The top comment said he would choose not to know his own child. How can I do this to our baby? Read that out loud several times. He's telling you that he doesn't love his own child. Is that somebody you want raising your child? Contact your family and start making plans to return home. Once those plans are in place, return home for a visit and just don't go back. File for divorce after you're back in the States. The second top comment says he already seems like he's got no relationship with his child. So what would be the difference? If you do move back closer to your family, would you have help? Either way, not the a-hole. Your husband sucks. Yeah, very much. The comment below that says not the a-hole. If he thinks doing the bare minimum is breaking his back, then he's not worth sticking around for. Edit to add, using your kid as an all or nothing ultimatum to try to guilt you into staying is such a move, and your kid will be better off without him too. Yes, such a good comment. He was complaining about doing the bare minimum. And moving on to post number 6. This one's on am I overreacting? Am I overreacting for refusing to give up my wedding dress for my cousin's dream wedding? I, 27 female, got married 2 years ago in a beautiful lace wedding dress that I absolutely love. My cousin Tina, 25 female, recently got engaged and has been planning her wedding. We're not super close, but we do see each other at family events and we get along fine. A few weeks ago, Tina asked if I still had my wedding dress. I said yeah, thinking that she wanted to see it for inspiration, but then she told me that she fell in love with it and wanted to wear it to her wedding. I was caught off guard and I politely told her no. My dress holds a lot of sentimental value to me and I'd like to save it as a keepsake. She was upset, but she dropped the topic, or so I thought. Fast forward to this week and Tina brought it up again, this time with backup. My aunt, her mum, called me saying that I was being selfish for hoarding a dress that I'll never wear again. She even offered to pay for the alterations to make it fit Tina, and I told her no, explaining that the dress means a lot to me. Now Tina's telling everybody that I'm being petty and ruining her dream wedding because she can't afford a new dress that's as nice as mine. My mum thinks I should let her borrow it to keep the peace, laughing my ass off. But I feel like it's crossing a boundary. The family group chat's blowing up and people are taking sides. Some think that I'm selfish while others think that Tina is entitled. My husband says that it's my dress, so it's my decision, but now I'm second guessing myself. So am I overreacting for refusing to let her have my dress? The top comment says, so your cousin wants to borrow your dress that doesn't fit and is kindly saying that they'll pay for the alterations? Well, who else was going to pay for them? Is she bigger or smaller? Once it's altered, it's no longer your dress. Is she going to want to keep it once it no longer fits you? And OP said, exactly, that's one of my biggest concerns. She's a bit smaller than me, so alterations would definitely change the dress, and who knows if it could even be restored to how it was. And I wouldn't be surprised if she tried to keep it after, claiming that it wouldn't fit me anymore anyway. The whole thing feels like a lose-lose situation for me. Yeah, but what, you're selfish because you're not giving her your dress? No, you're not. The audacity is wild. And moving on to post number 7. This one's back on Am I the A-hole? Am I the A-hole for being resentful towards my husband after he pressured me into having a baby that I didn't want? I, 31 female, have been married to my husband, 33 male, for 6 years. Before we got married, we had a clear agreement that we weren't gonna have kids. I've never wanted to be a parent and I thought that he felt the same. About 2 years ago, he started changing his mind. At first, it was little comments like, wouldn't it be fun to have a little one running around? Then it turned into serious conversations where he said that he couldn't imagine his life without being a dad. I told him I still didn't want kids, but he kept on saying, you'd be such a great mum, or you might feel differently once it's your own. Eventually, I gave in. Oh no, you're having a child even though you don't want one? I figured that maybe he was right, and I didn't want to lose my marriage over this. Now we've got a 7-month-old baby, and while I love my child, I can't shake the feeling that this life isn't what I wanted. Oh no, this is terrible. I'm constantly exhausted, my career's taken a backseat, and I feel trapped in a role that I wasn't asking for. My husband, on the other hand, is thriving. He loves being a dad, but he works long hours, leaving most of the parenting to me. Recently, I told him I was struggling, and I feel like I was being pressured into this. He got upset and said I was being unfair because I agreed to have the baby. He thinks I just need to adjust and stop dwelling on what I wanted before, but it's still what you want now. I feel guilty for feeling this way, and I don't want my child to ever feel unloved, but I can't help but resent my husband for pushing me into something that I was so clear about not wanting. Am I the a-hole? The top comment says, daycare for the baby and get your career back on track. He loves being a dad because he's not home most of the time, and nothing's different with his career. His days are basically the same as before the baby, with the exception of whatever time he spends with the child. He got what he wanted, has a little change in his routine, job unaffected, and doesn't seem to care how you feel. Not the a-hole, but resentment's gonna eat you alive. Take back your life and what you wanted for it. This comment says, I'm so sorry that you gave in. Now it's up to you to demand that he take on his share of the parenting. Tell him that you're no longer neglecting your career, and he's gonna have to make some sacrifices for the child that he wanted. Not the a-hole. I would be wild with resentment in your place. Okay, moving on to post number 8. This one's on Today I Messed Up. I'm sure it's going to be funny like all the other Today I Messed Up ones. Today I messed up by microwaving my girlfriend's leftover quote-unquote rice. So this all started Saturday night. My girlfriend and I went out and picked up some Korean food, beef, rice, and a few other things. We had 2 containers of rice, and after we ate it, we packed the leftovers and we called it a night. When she left, I ate the rest of the beef and my portion of the rice. Since there were 2 containers of rice, I figured that we still had some leftovers, and I went to bed. The next morning, I went grocery shopping. When I got home, I shredded a pound of Monterey Jack cheese, used some of it for a cheese dip, and I put the rest in one of my Tupperware containers. Later, my girlfriend came over, and I asked if she wanted the rest of the Korean food. She said that she just wanted the leftover rice and the sauce out of one of her dishes. I was convinced that we still had rice left over, and lo and behold, there was a big Tupperware container in my fridge filled with rice. This is more than I thought we had last night, I thought, but I didn't think much of it. The kitchen was pretty dim, just the stove light, but it was enough to see a giant container of white rice. I started by putting a little bit of it in a bowl, and I focused on extracting the sauce to go on top. I didn't notice anything weird about the rice at first. It felt a bit clumpy, but it was sticky rice, so I figured the consistency was normal. Then I microwaved it for 1.5 minutes. When it was done, it was a burnt mess completely stuck to the bottom of the bowl. I recently got a new microwave and I haven't used it much, so I figured that maybe it was more powerful than I realized. Honestly, I was more pissed about burning the sauce, as it was pretty much all that was left. Angry and determined, I scraped the last bits of sauce into the giant Tupperware, and I figured my girlfriend would be okay with just a bunch of rice. This time I was going to be smart and only microwave it for 30 seconds. You can't burn anything in 30 seconds. Well, 30 seconds passed, and when I take it out, it's a giant white pancake. What the f? At this point, I'm angry, embarrassed, and feeling like a fool. I had to turn to my girlfriend and say, "Yeah, babe, I don't know what's going on with this rice, but it keeps burning." She looked confused and said, "Huh?" So I explained how it kept on sticking together and melting. She came over, looked in the bowl, and said, "That's cheese." I was like, "What? Did they put cheese in your rice?" Thinking maybe hers was different than mine. She just started laughing and said again, "It's cheese." It took me a solid minute before it even hit me. I microwaved a pound of Monterey Jack cheese thinking that it was rice. I don't know how I'm going to come back from this. I've been cooking for over 5 years. I was completely sober, and I don't think I've ever questioned my sanity like this. But here we are. And to make matters worse, there was no rice. I ate all of it the night before, and I didn't realize that we only had one container of leftovers. The top comment says better than the maggots I was expecting, but I guess they would have been cheaper. Yeah, how funny. Like, oh my god, what's wrong with this rice? Oh, it's cheese. That makes a lot more sense. That's so funny, OP. And moving on to post number 9 back on Am I the A-hole? Am I the A-hole for demanding my brother replace a product 1 for 1 instead of a cheap knockoff? After I found out he was stealing from me for weeks, I, male 28, live with my twin brother, male 28, and I have for a few years. Our dynamic is typically fine, but he'll take advantage of me at times. Like playing my PlayStation when he didn't ask to, taking various things out of my room without asking. He'll give them back after I have to ask. I have weather-related allergies and I take a loratadine pill as needed. A few months ago, I bought a bottle of 90 pills for $36 from a local drugstore. I don't take them every day and there's 90 in the bottle, so it's pretty hard to keep track of them. A few months ago though, I did notice that the bottle seemed to be getting emptier, despite me not taking a pill every day. I thought that was a little bit odd, but I didn't really think anything else of it. But then just a month ago, I noticed it significantly more empty than before. So I decided to count them and I found that there were about 15 pills or so in the bottle. Fast forward to last night, I wanted to take a pill, so I opened the bottle and I noticed there was only 1 pill left. I immediately suspected my brother of taking them without asking, obviously, so I confronted him about it. He admitted to taking them, but he questioned how many I think he took. I said I obviously didn't have a clue, but it seems like it's been happening for months. He got incredibly defensive and said, "Bro, it's only loratadine. It's a allergy pill, not money, not a prescription." I said it's the principle. It doesn't matter what it is, you don't steal. I then demanded that he replace the product. To go to CVS's website and order the exact bottle, because it's a 1 for 1 comp, that's the price I paid for the product. He thought that was absolutely ridiculous, because he can get a bottle of like 300 pills on Amazon for like $15 instead of 90 for $36. Is it more expensive? Yeah, but that's what I paid, despite it being cheaper elsewhere. And he wouldn't budge. He said, "I'm ordering you this or nothing at all." He called me an a-hole for demanding this, but he doesn't see it that way at all. So Reddit, what are your thoughts? Am I the a-hole? The top comment says not the a-hole. I personally can't stand it when somebody uses the majority of or finishes a premium product of mine and then doesn't want to replace it with the same. If it's too premium for you to buy for yourself, then don't consume somebody else's like it's yours. Yeah, how wild. He said, "I'm ordering you this or nothing at all." Like, bro, yeah, they're the same, but OP spent $36 on the ones that you used. AKA, you need to replace the same ones. The ones that cost OP $36. Like, come on, how insufferable. But he's getting annoyed at OP, calling OP an a-hole? Where do you get off? And moving on to post number 10. This one's on Am I Overreacting? Am I overreacting? My boyfriend keeps on farting on me. I know the title sounds ridiculous, but my boyfriend keeps on farting on me, and I'm thinking of breaking up with him because of it. I, female 26, have been dating my boyfriend, male 28, for about a year. He's lactose intolerant, but he still eats dairy and lactose, so he's always gassy and having stomach issues. He's got a gross habit of farting near and around my face any chance he gets, usually 4 to 7 times a day, and in bed every night without fail. He'll fart under the sheets multiple times and then pull the sheets over my head and start laughing. I've told him how much I hate this and it makes me feel quite ill because the smell is so strong, but he won't stop no matter how much I beg him to. I'm not sure if it's a maturity thing, but I'm getting really sick of bringing it up and then being shot down because he says it's a joke. I don't find it funny and it makes me feel sick and I'm getting very annoyed. What do I do? Is this like a normal joke that people do? Please, advice. Edit, I'm adding this edit in now because I've already gotten a few comments. I'll further explain what he does. He has given me pink eye and eye infections more than 4 times because he's farted on his hands and then wiped it on my face. He says that he sometimes doesn't wipe after number 2 because he doesn't need to. What? And says that he gets clean from showering anyway. Nah, that's so gross. This is terrible. He Dutch ovens me when I'm asleep, so sometimes I'll legitimately wake up with the sheets over my head, just inhaling his farts. He also farts loud in public and then will say, "Oh my god, god, ew, you farted, to make me feel embarrassed. We have an otherwise great relationship. He's very kind and caring and really does love me, but I genuinely don't know if I can stay with him because of this gross habit and the poor hygiene. Yeah, the not wiping is revolting. Like, what do you mean you don't need to? Do it anyway, even if you feel like you don't need to. Update, I'm truly disgusted, and I've never experienced anything like this. I don't know where to even begin to explain what happened this morning. Oh no, I'm actually scared. I told my boyfriend that we need to have a serious discussion about our relationship when he comes home from work. He left this morning and I had a pit in my stomach the whole morning. I felt absolutely sick knowing that I had to break things off when he'd be home from work. To preface the next part, he lives in my apartment with me and has been living with me for the past 3-ish months, and so my name is on everything, the lease, utilities. I decided to deep clean my apartment as a distraction. I can't really explain the type of bed frame that I have. It's like a bed base and it has fabric draping over the sides, so you can't see what's under the bed, but if you lift it up, there's about a 7-inch gap. I hope this makes sense. I lifted up the fabric of the bed frame to clean out anything that had fallen behind the bed. When I tell you there were legitimately 3 water bottles filled up with urine, I genuinely lost my mind. Ew. I've never been so repulsed by somebody, and the sheer laziness and the poor hygiene makes me sick to my stomach. I've never felt so blindsided. The comments opened me up to a new perspective and helped me understand that this is not the man I thought he was. At that moment, it was over for me. There was no way that I'd even entertain an explanation from him. I wanted out. I've packed everything of his in garbage bags, including the 3 disgusting bottles of urine, and I left them in the hallway. I don't care if people take it. He's no longer my problem. I sent him a text saying that we're over and his things are outside, but he hasn't read it yet. I'm hoping that he'll just leave and go back to his parents' house and I won't have to speak to him anymore. I'm distraught. I can't believe I put up with it for so long. Thank you all for your comments and advice and helping me see things clearly. I still love him and I'm very distraught about the whole situation because I've been with him for almost a year, but this is just too much for me to deal with. I probably won't update again, but I'll see what happens when he sees my message. Sorry if there are any typos. I typed this out pretty fast as I wanted to give a quick update. Second quick update. I couldn't handle the stress and anxiety of him blowing up my phone or spam calling me, so I've just blocked his number. I can't deal with his right now, so I've cut all contact. After he gets his I won't be reaching out to him. I can't believe this post. You've even said that you've had pink eye from it a few times, but what, it's a joke? No, it's not. And the bit about not wiping sometimes? Come on. And then also the bottle's full of pee. Yeah, we need to move on. And now we're moving on to post number 11. This one is on the Am I Wrong subreddit. Am I wrong for telling my brother's girlfriend to stop being a psycho and that I was not going to remove a picture from my fridge? My brother, 25 male, has been dating his girlfriend for a few years now. She's always been a little bit cold to me and I never understood why. However, the other night I lost it when she asked me to remove a picture from my fridge. For context, it's a picture of my brother and I from when we were in high school, and it's a really scenic picture of us in the grass with the sunset in the background. I've always had that picture on my fridge because my brother means a lot to me. The other night my brother and his girlfriend had come over to my apartment to hang out. We were all having a good time and we were pretty drunk. My brother's girlfriend then said that I should remove that picture from my fridge because from an outsider's perspective, it looks like a picture of a couple instead of a brother and sister. I was shocked when she said that and things obviously got a bit awkward after. My brother heard it too and he didn't say anything. I then called my brother's girlfriend a psycho and to go to therapy to deal with whatever family trauma she was dealing with. My brother then took my side and he told his girlfriend that what she said was not appropriate. His girlfriend then apologized to me, but shortly after she started crying really bad and I felt really bad. I later asked my brother if he was angry with me or how I retaliated. However, my brother said that he wasn't angry with me at all. It's just that his girlfriend sometimes gets overly emotional. I still feel somewhat guilty after seeing her cry like that. Was I wrong for how I reacted? This comment says not in the wrong at all. Her crying is just to cover up her weird behavior. Yeah, like this one says, hide the picture now so it doesn't go missing. And this comment says that's really out there. Your brother needs to see this for the huge red flag that it is. Okay, moving on to post number 12. On the Am I the A-hole subreddit. Am I the a-hole for telling my best friend that if she wasn't always trying to get with my husband, her boyfriend wouldn't have left her? I, 27 female, have been best friends with Kira, 27 female, since we were little. We were neighbors, went to the same school and college. She was my maid of honor when I married Rowan, 28 male, who we also went to college with. At first, Kira had a big crush on him, but he started liking me. We slowly got closer and I started to like him too. This was after Kira had told me that she'd gotten over it and was dating another guy. But I still felt really guilty and I didn't want to date him if it was going to hurt Kira. I asked her multiple times if she was okay with it and she said that she was, so I thought it was fine. Kira's been with her latest boyfriend Adam, 27 male, for a year or so. However, over the last few months she's been acting strange around Rowan. Whenever we'd be hanging out with the three of us, or even with Adam there, she'd always find some way to sit next to Rowan, laugh at everything everything that he said. I didn't think anything of it initially because I knew that's kind of her personality, and her and Rowan are friends, but then she started always asking me if he was there before she came over, and if I said no, she'd often suddenly say that she couldn't come, though sometimes she would say that even if he was there. Rowan also told me about a comment that she made to him once about how he was so patient for putting up with me for being too tired to do anything with him now that I was pregnant, which I thought was weird. The odd behavior continued, but the pregnancy had been keeping me too exhausted to give it a lot of thought. But Rowan seemed as friendly with Kira as always. But 2 days ago, our mutual friend Shay threw a dinner party. Me and Rowan went, as did Kira and Adam. Kira got a bit tipsy and she kept trying to sit with Rowan and touch him. He excused himself a few times, but she kept on finding him. I tried to get her off a few times and I was getting mad because this was a new line she was crossing. She was slurring about how I stole Rowan from her. Thankfully, Adam was too busy talking to Shay's husband to hear this, but he definitely saw Kira's actions. The next afternoon, I was at Shay's again with some friends when Kira showed up. She was crying about how Adam had broken up with her that day, saying that he didn't think they were going to work out. Everybody was consoling her, but I was only kind of sitting there. I couldn't help but feel like she brought this upon herself. She asked me, "Aren't you going to say something?" So I said, maybe Adam wouldn't have left you if you weren't trying to get with Rowan all the time. Some of our other friends were shocked to hear this and got mad at Kira. Some got angry at me, saying that Kira was just really friendly with everybody and that was a horrible accusation to make. Kira said I stole Rowan from her. It's a bit more than her being friendly. Kira was upset, saying that she couldn't believe I thought that of her, and maybe we really weren't that close. She left in tears and I left soon after. Now I don't know, maybe I was wrong. Kira had been drinking at the dinner party and might not have meant what she said, and the other stuff could have been nothing. Maybe this was too harsh to say to her after a breakup, and we could have talked privately, not in front of our friends. Am I the a-hole? Kira's been actively trying to get with your husband. Kira is not your friend. And by the sounds of it, her behavior was obvious enough for her boyfriend to want to break up with her. Like, she even said that you stole him away from her. Her intentions are pretty clear. This comment says, almost the a-hole. You should have called out her behavior long ago. Somebody responded and said, yeah, imagine witnessing your friend repeatedly harass your spouse and being more worried about her boyfriend overhearing. The comment below that says, everybody sucks here, your friend obviously, but also for you not stepping in and subjecting your husband to a friend that was constantly harassing him. The second top comment says, not the a-hole for what you said, but why are you keeping this person in your life? She's not your friend. She's been actively sexually harassing your husband and you continue to keep bringing her around. And the top comment says, not the a-hole. Well, not entirely. Yeah, it was kind of rude to say that after she'd just been dumped, but she'd been acting like this for a long time, to the point that even Rowan was getting uncomfortable, but she still persisted. Getting drunk didn't help, and I bet Adam did hear her when she said that you stole Rowan from her. She's clearly been jealous this whole time from my point of view. She has yet to move on and has only tried to get closer. Rowan also brought up that comment that she said that made both of you uncomfortable about being too tired to do anything. That's not a normal thing to say to your best friend's husband. Even as a joke, that's messed up. Not the a-hole. And moving on to post number 13. Am I the a-hole for not allowing a newborn at my birthday? I'm having a 30th birthday party. It's ladies only and I'm asking people not to bring their significant others or kids. It's not going to be a rager, but I want it to be a fun night to let loose a little. Lots of mums are coming. Laugh and have fun. A friend of mine just had her baby. Her baby is going to be 1 month the day of the party. It seems she thinks she should be able to bring her baby. However, I'm leaning towards sticking to my request of no children, which means that she won't be able to come. From what I hear, she's upset and doesn't think it's fair. She wants to bring her baby. Now, this may be selfish, but I know that bringing the baby will impact the vibes of the party. Yeah, of course it will. The focus is going to be on the baby instead of enjoying our time together. I know that nobody else there will obviously be offended or anything. I too am a mum. If I was in her shoes, I would just not go and leave it at that. No big deal. And if I'm being really honest, I want this day to be about my birthday, not her baby. I do feel guilty, but I'm a people pleaser. Also, I want to add, if the roles were reversed, she would 100% ask people not to bring babies as well. She's actually done that in the past. I'd like to know, should I just comply or stick to my no kids rule? Yeah, the top comment, who wants to take their 4-week-old baby to a 30th party? Being around drunk people when your baby doesn't have an immune system or routine or pattern seems ridiculously stressful. Does she have a safe person, dad, parent or siblings that she can leave the baby with for an hour or two? As a new mum, it might do her some good to get a small break away. Not the a-hole. The second top comment says, not the a-hole for a number of reasons. The vibe is no kids. That means all the other women are excited about hanging out without any kids or babies around. She will ruin that for them. It'll be unfair if she can bring her baby when nobody else is allowed to. If it's an adult-only party, then I'm assuming there'll be adult-only behavior, like excessive drinking. It's irresponsible and downright bad parenting to bring a baby into that environment. And lastly, if she can't spend one day away from her baby, then she has to miss out on this one event. Tough. That's life. We all make choices, and sometimes that means that we don't get to have our cake and eat it too. When you have a young child, there's a lot of things you have to miss out on. That's a choice a person makes when they decide to have kids. I'm sure you or your guests have missed out on things due to being a parent. We all have. She needs to get over herself. Okay, time for post number 14. Once again on the Am I the A-hole subreddit. Am I the a-hole for not buying my entitled mother a birthday gift after just having a baby with my fiance? My fiance, female 25 and I male 25, just had a baby. We're both on parental leave and money's tight and we've got bills. We just had Christmas and we've got a 3-week-old baby. Now here's the situation. My mother's birthday is the first week of January and she has asked for a gift. I had politely stated that I can't afford to get her a gift this year, and if I do, it'll be late. I was respectful in the hope that she'd be understanding, but I was wrong. Her response was along the lines of, I'll forget your birthday this year then, which is fine. I don't care about my birthday. This was the icing on the cake. I told her I couldn't get her a gift and I didn't care if she forgot my birthday. In response, my mum started blaming my fiance for me not getting her a gift and calling this whole conversation abuse, insinuating that we're neglecting her or outcasting her. For more background, ever since my fiance got pregnant back in April 2024, my mum has tried to make the whole experience about her. She got mad when my fiance didn't take her to appointments with her. She got mad when I found out the gender intimately with my fiance. She was upset with the last name that we gave our son and made snide comments about how my fiance's mum was allowed in the delivery room and not her. Not to mention all the side comments saying that my fiance is a bitch or paranoid. I have defended my fiance through all of this, but it's getting ridiculous. Essentially, am I the a-hole at all against my mum? The top comment says, oh, where to start? I swear we've got the same mother. She's emotionally abusing both you and your fiance. Perhaps go no contact for a while. You're a new dad and you need to focus on your new family unit. Let the dust settle and perhaps have a conversation alone with your mum. Set boundaries or this negative energy is going to eat you alive. This whole gifts BS on her part is entitled, juvenile and ridiculous. Not the a-hole, by the way. And OP said every single time I try and talk to her, she just doesn't listen and then blames me. It's just a rinse and repeat cycle. Yeah, like the comment below that says. Then stop talking and wash your hands off her until she can grow up. This comment says, not the a-hole. Your mum sounds like she's trying to compete in the main character Olympics, but she's missing the memo that your baby takes gold. You are prioritizing your new family, which is what you should be doing. Gifts aren't a requirement, especially when you've got diapers to buy and sleep to catch up on. And moving on to post number 15, the last one for the day. Am I the a-hole for making my mum cry after telling her that she can't control my life? I, 18 male, just finished high school and I live with my mum, who's deeply controlling, religious and conservative. She recently announced that she plans to send me to an Islamic boarding school for at least 5 years. That means no college, no job, no pursuing my goals, just being stuck in a school that I don't want to attend. Here's the confusing part. My older brother's in college now. He started a bit later, so maybe she's trying to repeat that process with me, but I don't want to wait. I've been looking forward to working and going to college straight away. I want to start building my future now, not 5 years from now. The worst part is that I don't even believe anymore. I've kept this to myself for obvious reasons, so the idea of going to this school feels even more stifling and out of place for me. Today she told me it was final. She's taken me to this school whether I like it or not, and that's when I snapped. I told her no, it's my life, and I'm the one who gets to decide. I'm not a little kid anymore. You can't control me like this. She immediately started crying and saying stuff like, I've sacrificed everything for you, and this is how you repay me? I don't know how to respond. On the one hand, I feel bad for upsetting her, but on the other hand, I feel like I have the right to decide my own future. Now I'm sitting here waiting to see what happens next. I'm torn between guilt and frustration, so am I the a-hole for standing up for myself, even if it made her cry? Or should I have handled it different? Edit to clear things up, yes, I live in the US. After reading the supportive comments, I've decided to move to another city and a different state where nobody knows me. I have a bit of money saved up, which I'll use. It's not much, but it helps. I can't rely on friends or family for help. Everybody is extremely conservative. I don't think I can trust them. And even my brother, who's in college, can't do much because he does still live with us. His campus is near our house, and he's under my mum's control in everything, from his hair to his daily life. Thank you to everybody for the advice and support. It has helped me decide my next steps. This comment says you're 18, so she can't make you do anything. That's why she's using tears to manipulate you. Advice I give everybody. At the end of your life, you can't keep on blaming your parents for your choices, or your mistakes, or your missed opportunities. They won't acknowledge or take responsibility for any of it, and they don't have to. So either you do what you want to and live with the consequences, or you live your life according to your parents' expectations and live with those consequences. But make no mistake, it's your life and your consequences, good or bad, not the a-hole. The top comment says you've already picked up on the fact that your mum is controlling, so it shouldn't surprise you when I say, based on what you've mentioned, that your mum's probably resorting resorting to emotional blackmail to get you to do what she wants, and don't fall for it. You sound like you've already got a decent idea of what you want to do with your life, or at least what the first steps to take are to find that out. Stay on that path and don't let anybody try to persuade you otherwise. And I also don't think you should feel bad for snapping at your mum. She's the one who tried to throw you down the gauntlet by saying that she was taking you to a boarding school, whether you like it or not. If she's upset because you refused in a not so polite way, that's on her. Play stupid games and win stupid prizes. All this to say, not the a-hole. And that's enough for today. I've got 2 cute wholesome memes to show you before we go. That was an unbelievable episode. Me laughs at a funny meme, my cat on my lap. Yeah, that's so cute. When I sleep, a lot of the time Nez sleeps like up on my shoulder, and I move around so much, but she stays on top of me like she's surfing a wave. It's so unbelievably cute. And one time she was asleep on top of me, and I rolled over, and because she was asleep, she rolled off me onto the other side of the bed in the funniest way that you could ever imagine. Like, of course, she was completely fine, but it was so funny. And this one too. Love is stored in the cat. So precious. Love her. A Care Bear. Oh, that's so true. Cats are Care Bears. That is so adorable. Thank you for watching today's episode, everybody. I hope you had a great time today. If you did, make sure you let me know down below in the comment section, and also subscribe if you want to. And the comment of the day today goes to Funny Penelope. Hey everybody, my boyfriend proposed on Monday. I'm so happy. Oh, that's so amazing. Congratulations. Thank you for sharing that in the comment section. That's so awesome. And yeah, congratulations again. Okay, I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next episode. Make sure you look after yourself, everybody, and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!